We on deck. Oh,
Did I press the right button?
I think so. Participants 1.
Yay! Perfect.
I think that's, there we are.
Just us.
Is it us? So participants 2. That's what.
Yay! There we go, Nina.
Participants 3.
Jadene and Ben, good morning.
Good morning. I love your sweater.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Look at your beautiful flowers.
Right? We had to share them with everybody because they're just too nice not to share.
Absolutely.
New vase too.
True. I went all out.
Hello.
Okay.
Okay.
Launching it. Here we go.
We're good to go. Let's just give a few more minutes for a few more people to join in.
Absolutely.
There we are. We got all that.
It is amazing. It is already a month until Christmas, guys.
What? Masks now.
Well, yeah, because it's the 26th today. So we're like on the countdown.
Yes, we are on the countdown.
Yes.
Christmas 2020.
Exactly.
2020. Let's see how.
So as people filter in, I just want to say out loud on this, because we're recording, that whether you're watching now or later, we're grateful for every single person that shows up, because we know people are busy, people have things going on, changing schedules, and even 5 or 10 minutes of your attention is something that we don't take for granted ever. So from our team to your team, or to wherever you are in the world watching this, we're very grateful for you. So just wanted to say that out loud.
Yeah. Yeah.
So for those of you that are on, actually, Ben and Jadene, can you change your Skating Success name to your guys' actual name so that people know when they come on who you guys are, if they don't know you, if they haven't met you, or have never attended an event before? And while they're doing that, why don't you guys put in the chat box where you are from? And just one thing to notice about the chat box is that when you click on the little chat on the bottom, and you see the 2, and then there's a blue little drop-down menu. If you click on all panelists and attendees, that will send your message to everyone else that's on the webinar. But if you only want to send a private message to Ben and Jadene or myself, then you're going to have it selected to all panelists. So if you want to share with everyone else where you're from, and you don't mind, you know, being transparent with that, then you just click to panelists and attendees. Okay, so why don't you guys, for those that are on, let us know where you're tuning in from.
Exactly. Yes. Where are you? What's going on? What time zone are you in? That would be cool to know.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? Because I mean, it's a big open web platform, so you know we can be.
And where are you guys from?
Well, we are from Edmonton, Alberta.
Alberta, Canada.
Actually, we're both from here, which we get asked that a lot. At least I know I do. It's like, oh, you guys both from the same spot, and we are. We've known each other for a long time, and been together for over 20 years now. So yeah, born and raised Edmontonians.
Oh, Nelson, BC.
Sarah, yay! Welcome to the webinar.
Sarah's been on, I think I'm correct, but I think Sarah has been on all 3 webinars, maybe?
I think you're right.
Yeah.
Yay. Well, welcome back.
Yeah, welcome.
We're doing their skipping wise, right?
Okay, exciting. Yeah, so Nelson, do you guys have snow yet?
It's pretty far south, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, but I know they have lots of skiing, right? Oh, there's snow.
There is. Okay, there we go. Yeah.
Skiing time is coming. Oh my gosh. We love skiing. It's like our favorite winter thing to do, other than skating, obviously. But
that's actually funny because, you know, if I hadn't skated, I probably would have skied. If maybe my family lived in Calgary, right? Because it would have been just an hour to the slopes back and forth. But I mean, Edmonton, you're 4 hours away. So I thought of it, you know, years ago before I started skating, actually thought of doing that. But again, the logistics of just the family, we just looked at it and went, no, because I love to ski too. So I'm
going to tell you guys, this guy is a speed demon on the hill. Like, try keeping up with him. In the rink is one thing, down a hill, it's like meet you at the bottom.
It would have been fun. But you know what, skating's fun too. So it's all good. And it worked out really well.
So good.
Yeah, totally.
Awesome. Well, Nina, I think we'll get started, and people may come and go. We totally understand that, you know, having a session like this in the morning, it's sometimes people at work, all the things. But Sarah, yay, you could this might be like all your questions answered right here. So that's pretty exciting. So the official welcome of this webinar, I really wanted to say out loud that this whole format, everything that's happened this year, whether it's been the coaches circle online on Facebook, the newsletter we're sending out, the private conversations we're having at arenas, also over Zoom with people, this is building coach community, and we're leading it in the way that, yeah, we're opening the Zoom, but we are in it with you. Like, this is about being together and being connected and supporting each other no matter what happens and no matter how many challenges we all face. Because as we know, the things that we're doing in coaching now, not only technically, but also like logistically, have really, really grown. We have so much more on our plate. So I just wrote down, this is a circle, it's a community, and we want to stay connected with you. So just honor that. This is, we wanted to open the space, but by no means do we feel like we're telling you how to do your thing, but we just want to share the space with you.
Well, that's one of the beautiful parts too about, I think what's been going on is the pivoting, right? Because there's now, what's happened is there's very different ways of sharing, right? And that's what the web's all about. It's just about sharing. It's getting everything out there. And, like you said earlier, creating that community so that we share on different platforms. We can pivot around, get these webinars going, get these online courses going, get everything that we've tried to do for I think the past 8-9 months of learning Zoom. I mean, where was it too? Like, 9 months ago we kind of knew some meeting, but not putting webinars together, things like this. It's been a whole new structure for us. So I think that's what's brilliant about where we're at now. Is there at a point where of course the world has changed and we've changed in coaching. I mean, I've had to just teaching has been okay. Like, is that 6 feet? Is that this? Like, and is that okay? Drop the harness over here. Do this. Like, it's like. It's been such a unique time that yeah, I mean, just the engagement of being able to share what we've been able to during this with the tools that we have has it's been fun, learning curve.
Yes,
we'll say that, but yeah, thanks for being on with us today.
Yeah. So a few little housekeeping things. If you have your questions ready, go ahead, put them in the chat. And Nina's going to help us organize them a little bit later on this webinar. So the questions that we're trying to focus on today, of course, are around the Axel, any edges and turns questions, and of course, spin to win. We always call it spin to win questions. So, we're not going to tell you which one you want to do, but you may have questions in all 3 areas, and that's totally fine. We're willing and ready to answer anything that comes up in those areas. Of course, it could be technical, it could be, mental training stuff as well. If you've been on before, you kind of know us by now, but Nina's going to help us with that. So put those questions into the chat at any time, and she'll help us organize and make sure that we deliver our answers in sort of a cohesive fashion, as she always does, keeps us organized. And if you have any, like she said earlier, personal question, like you don't necessarily want to share it in the chat with everybody, just say only to the panelists. And on our end for housekeeping, I just want to say, this is a disclaimer that when we answer these questions, we're not saying this is the answer. We're saying this is our point of view, okay? Coaching has so many facets to it. There's no way any 1 or 2 people can possibly know all the answers, and we don't claim to. We just want to share with you what we're doing and how we're doing it. And that's really the intention of all skating success. So
I might have to preface each question with, well, in my experience, this is what, do you know what I'm saying? Because that's what it is, right? I mean, if that's the community, it's been in my experience, this is where I guess what, I've seen this, or, so hey, we'll see where that goes.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah.
Exactly. All right. So I'm kind of excited because this also gives us an opportunity to really share the format of our courses with you. I know that if you've been on before, we shared our webinar and our intention and delivery, technique, consistency. I know you've heard that a lot, but we're going to keep saying those words. But now I want to give you guys like that behind the scenes sneak peek feeling of what it's like to purchase one of the courses and be in behind the scenes. So I know that whenever you purchase something online, there's always this little bit of mystery, like, well, what am I getting? So we wanted to take the mystery out of it. So before I share my screen with you guys and show you exactly what it looks like when you purchase, I wanted to just walk through why we created these courses in the first place. So when we've been at masterclasses and we've been at arenas, and honestly, you guys, like, over 80% of the work we do day to day is just supporting coaches with their skating success. So Ben will get hired to help with jumps. I'll get hired to do choreography. And in general, we support other coaches with their skaters and their objectives. And so when we do that, we always find people have questions. They want continuous education. They want answers. They want maybe input that we are being asked to give them all the time. And so we thought, okay, now with being, in this situation, 2020, how can we offer this ongoing without seeing people physically? And then how can they access it on their own time?
Well, and you make a lot of great points with the support. And I think that's where, I think we've been very fortunate to find niches that really worked for us, such as Dartfish harness. I can have that niche and get hired, but I have great colleagues that I work with every single day, you as well with choreography. But I think that one of the things that going into why we created the courses was, I remember being a young coach too. Or, I even coach now where I actually with PSA stuff, I review some of the PSA material. I'm constantly looking for new knowledge, because 20 years ago when I started, I remember, okay, I ordered this and it took 3 weeks to arrive in the mail, like a VHS tape from Skate Canada, the delivery standards. Because I had to learn that as a coach. There was a lot that okay, fine, as an athlete, you did it, but to actually teach it and to actually have someone in front of you and communicate it, that was a whole different learning curve where, I had all this knowledge inside of me, but now how do you bring it out of you and explain everything well to the athlete, see if it's being received, what kind of exercises can we do? So, I invested in my education a long time ago too, and I still did. I have DVDs and VHS and things. Now, beautiful part is it's online, so you don't have to wait for it.
Exactly.
So that's awesome, because the technology is now here where, we can offer something that's instant, where, you don't have to wait. It's just, it's not going to come from Amazon. So that's great. Right? But anyway, so I just wanted to say that part of the process of that too was, having the masterclass, but also the continuation of the masterclass is where I think these courses really have their niche and really continue the conversation and can be reviewed and are in a great user interface that, like I said earlier, can just be accessed instantaneously. So that's been fun for us.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that the other piece of it, to add to what Ben is saying, is that so many courses are so broad that you almost get like a little taste of everything. And we found that with seminars as well. It was like, okay, I learned this for 15 minutes, and then we moved on to something else, and then we did something else. And although it was great information, it's like dipping your toe in different pools. And with the master classes, we found such amazing results when you focus, right? Ben always says, follow one course until successful. You focus in on one subject matter and you go from start all the way through to finish. And not saying that you couldn't do more, but this is a real way to contain your information, because as a coach, when you're teaching a spin, you want to know exactly the steps. How do I teach it? When do I teach what? And so that's how we've created each and every single course. They're very complementary in format. So you'll find the same format, but each one is its own pillar so that you go deep into the information. So we started with like our philosophy, which is why. Why do we teach it this way? So if you buy the Axel course, for example, why do we teach the Axel this way? What is the setup? And then what do we teach, right? What do we teach in each step along the way? Then how do we teach it? So how do we take the knowledge from our brains as coaches and then engage the skater? Then when to teach what? Like what order do we kind of go in? And then finally, how do you win as a coach? This is actually my favorite section. It's section 5 on every single course. Wait a minute, the skater is winning because they're landing the Axel, but how do you measure your progress and your success? Right? Is there anything you want to add to that before I screen share the course?
Well, and I like what you mentioned about the masterclass, because one of the things that happened when we started, right? And we started doing seminars. Just kind of at the beginning of the role of our coaching career was, it would be like, okay, so I come in the night before, I jot down what I want to work on with the skaters. I have an idea about the level, and then I get on the ice and go, oh, okay, I got to switch this, right? Because maybe, it just, what showed up was not what in my mind was, right? So what it was maybe I touch on something for 10 minutes on the Axel for the whole day, because as coaches, we get tired, we get into it, and we get going and doing different things within this. But what was great about the masterclass concept and the way it was laid out was that we focused on a specific session, a specific element. We went deep, and I think that's where it really had its huge merit in going, okay, we're not going to get sidetracked on this, because this is going to be the focus of the day. And this is how we want to make sure it's delivered. And so, and building into these courses, they complement that, right? Because then we can go, okay, going through the masterclass day, all right, and with the skaters and the coaches, engaging the conversation, doing Q&A, having the circle at the morning, at the night where we or not night, well, late afternoon, and we never go to night.
Some of them went longer than others.
Some of them did, because some of the conversations we would get into would be awesome. Like, we do that, but it really gave us a good focus on the delivery of key elements, or say edges and turns. Spin to win was always fun, because you never, if you had a bunch of skaters show up and you find out where they're at with, let's just work on the sit spin, I'd work on that. Yeah. Let's just deliver that, or it's more advanced, so you go and work on this. It really gave a good format for us to deliver great content with, like we say, focus. So that was fun. Yeah. Exactly.
Now, if you're just filtering on, no problem at all. Just a little note to put any questions you may have for us, because of course this is a Q&A, into the chat, and Nina is going to help make sure that we are staying on task when we answer things later. Now, I just want to check in. Nina, can you see my screen that I'm sharing?
Yes, absolutely. I see the 3 courses online.
Yay, you guys. Oh my gosh. Every time I pull up this screen, I'm so proud, because I was so honestly pushy about this. I was like, it needs to be clean. It needs to be beautiful. It needs to be easy. And as you purchase a course, I personally don't like any extra fluff. I want it to be really clean and organized. So this is what I fought for. I'm always excited when I open this. So the library, this is where any course that you purchase will live online. And it's like an online portal. Now, the best thing about this, as Ben was mentioning earlier, it is instant. So as soon as you purchase, you have your link, you go in, you membership, your login, and there you are in your own learning portal. And this is really cool, because let's say I'm at the rink, there's a flood break. You can open it up, you can look at it, right? As long as you have internet access or data or whatever. And it's not the kind of thing that is too many things to get to. It's just that one click and get in there. So this is our format. So whichever course you would hover over, you would view that product, okay? Because we always start with Axel. We're gonna start with Axel, all right? Once you're back in, I love the sneak peek. I'm so excited to share this. All right, so look how fun this is and how simply laid out. So you'll know how many lessons you've completed over here. And of course, as you do complete a lesson, it will sort of remember, like your portal will remember where you're at. And we have everything laid out. So remember when I talked about the why? That's in the introduction, why we do what we do, right? Then you step into each key step to build everything. So once you're in one of these things, so let's say maybe you're in the Axel exercises area. Let's say you've skipped ahead to that, which again, you can do whichever thing you want. You don't have to go sequentially, and you can go back to it again and again. Every section has a little video. So let me skip ahead here and kind of show you part of that video.
As they push onto the forward outside edge and run the forward outside edge, they are loading into the knee and ankle. The arms are coming close to the body and making sure they're not too big behind. And as they roll to the toe to generate lift, the arms and free leg are moving through with the head looking forward, setting the direction of climb.
So, wow, that's cool. I didn't know I was going to skip ahead to skaters, but yes, I should have mentioned we also have demonstration.
Well, and that was what we really wanted to do as well, is have the combination of demonstration plus instruction. Yeah. Because one of the items that I think is, and the reason the UI has been designed this way across the user interface, is that there's beauty and simplicity. It can be on desktop or iOS, right? Yeah. We didn't want to just limit it to application. We wanted to make sure that if it's on a desktop, you can do that. If it's on a mobile device, you can do that. It's iPad, iPhone, you name it. It's going to be available on all those platforms. So we're not limited by that. And again, going back into instructional plus the demonstration, seeing how it all connects together, and having that example on both parts of the course. I think we really wanted to create that too, because obviously the coaches, we get sharper as we see it, but we also understand it, and then we take it back to our students, and then we get better ourselves at providing the content and the delivery, which was a big part of what the webinars were, was delivery. It's a huge part of it. So
exactly. You can blow up the video, of course. You can even show it in a lesson. I mean, if it really helped you and you just wanted to show the skater a section of a video, it's there. This is designed for your way you want to use it. And we understand learning styles differ with different people. You may be an auditory learner and like that there's a voiceover in the course. You may be super visual and be like, okay, I'm gonna turn the volume down and just watch this thing. That's totally fine as well. And down here on every single one of these, we have written instruction around what exercises we're using, all that kind of thing, because we know that sometimes it's just nice to like have it written out and described. Okay, so I'm gonna go to one of the other courses here. Hopefully this is just simple to understand. Just show you guys kind of where you go. Oh, I love this. Coaches need to win too, don't we? We all do. All right, so let's go back to the beginning here in the library. Should we show maybe some spins, Ben?
Why not? Why not indeed? Let's go to the spin to win course. And like you say, laid out pretty, reasonably simplistic. That was the UI that, again, you fought for.
I did.
I agreed with, because I go, what better way to do that? And I think it's been well thought out of and well presented in a way that, like you say, if you want to review part of it, it's very easy to get back to. And so, yeah, let's just take a look at some spins.
Exactly. Yeah, no, I think, we've seen it so many times that it's sort of like par for the course for us, but of course, we're just showing the sneak peek for you guys. But again, here's each lesson always having its details written down. Okay. And then if you go into the video, we have some fun music to start.
I've never heard this tune today.
I know, all the editing.
Once your skater has mastered spinning on both feet, it's now time to learn to change feet within the spin. This skill is essential, and you don't want to skip over it when teaching spins. Let's start with the forward spin. The skater.
So this is kind of like an example of the instructional type of thing that is included in every single course. And we did do it on the ice. We wanted to be able to physically show you, and it's almost like you feel like you're on the ice right beside us. And that was, we got the ice bill later. So we tried not to think about how much that did cost to put together, but it's worth it, because for you as a coach to feel like you're in the rink with us, I think is really cool and gives you that sort of on ice access feeling.
Well, and we wanted to present it to where our environment is every day, right? I mean, we're on the ice every day. You guys are on the ice every day. We have to speak that common language. We have to glide around. We have to show the exercises. We have to engage in the conversation. I believe that was that's a huge part of what we wanted to create with it, was the that communication. So yeah, it was fun. It was good.
Yeah, it's exciting. So each course, like I said, has portions like this that are more instructional. If I just sort of go ahead here along the video.
Using that pivot and half push, we want them to understand they can do the same to get back to the front foot. The main difference here is that in the pivot push from the back foot to the front foot, we're now going to be using a forward pivot.
So I'm not sure if that's coming through for everyone watching. I know that I didn't optimize for video. I didn't actually think about that when I shared. So just put in the chat if you're having a problem seeing the video or anything like that, or if it's working, maybe just a thumbs up. But this is the general outline. And then of course, as you go through, there's your little course directory. So you can of course just go, okay, great. Let's say I want to hear this change foot thing. And then, I want some examples of that. I'm going to go down to here. So yeah, I'm thrilled to share this with you guys. And I hope that it comes across really simply. So Nina, is there anything in the chat that we need to address while we're here?
No, it sounds, everything I was able to see and hear. So yeah, I think we should just get started with some questions. So if you guys have any questions about Axel Q&A, spinning, or edges and turns, now is your chance to ask us.
That's the Q&A with Ben and Jay. Here we go.
I know, we always do that because it rhymes. Like Ben, if you guys don't know, is such a rhyming king. And then I was like,
look, we're coaches. We're in repetition all the time. Let's make it fun. And let's maybe, remember some of it with a little bit of a rhyme time or whatever, right? So, I mean, that's just what I try to do. But anyway.
I love it. I think it is helpful. And it sticks with you, right? A rhyme always sticks in your, yes.
Figure that out.
Exactly. All right. Sorry, Q&A time, Nina. Go for it.
Well, we don't have any questions right now. So maybe Ben, if you want to just like do your rhymes, that would be really entertaining and fun.
Well, we do have one comment. My skaters really enjoyed the spin bingo card. Yay! If you don't know what the spin, I called it spin to wingo. I know, again, tried to rhyme. If you don't know what it is, it's a really fun, like, way of looking at spins and practicing them. And so it's in our Instagram. If you press on our link in our bio, I have a little link there. You can download it, you can print it for your skaters and use it anytime. So I'm so glad your skaters enjoyed that. That's so fabulous.
Sarah's got a question. Thank you. Okay, that's
You guys can see the chat yourselves because you're not screen sharing. So
we
this
got
is
it in there.
great.
That's great.
It's amazing.
Okay, so this one comes from Sarah. Do you mind if I just read it out? I mean, yeah, let's do this one. This is a good question, actually. How do you help skaters overcome the fear of jumping, especially with regards to Axel? Number one, great question. Okay. Number two, I work on it all the time, right? Because again, you know, some skaters are maybe more, say, fearless than others, but remember what the acronym FEAR stands for. False evidence appearing real.
You do it slower.
Right? False evidence appearing real. So what I think it is too is just personally knowledge of what they're going to be able to do, right? So providing them the knowledge, you know, knowledge always conquers fear, right? Like if I don't know about something, I'm initially scared of it. That's just who I am anyway. But you know, and or also fears the other acronym is forget everything and run, which
Or say it away.
I'm gone. But also, you know, that's a great question, sir, because there is that initial leap of faith when the skater does attempt the first axel, or you know, the skater is going to step into that unknown. Me personally, like I said earlier, we as coaches, we provide them a lot of knowledge into what they're going to do. So here's what you're going to experience as you do this. You're going to climb, you're going to lock to the axis, you're going to try to commit to it, because of course, you know, you see it with it, but I mean, me personally, it's a pole harness. Like when I can use it, that conquers a lot of fear because it's a safety belt. It's a, you know, that's what I do. I find that speeds up the learning curve because that's just take that little bit of fear out of the equation and make them feel a little bit more comfortable. So that's my own personal experience with it too. Is you'd be shocked when things show up a little bit more in there. And like I say, because you may work with skaters that you know have the thrill for jumping, right? Yeah. We have skaters that you know it just is. They're timid because you know, oh my gosh, I might fall. Okay, fine. If you're operating on top of that, then that's we use the tools that we have to do that. So the harness is a big one. Okay, just for the initial pull the trigger factor. But you know what it is too? It's repetition, right? Like they're going to learn a lot more about what they're going to do when they pull the trigger on it a lot more, and then the fear is going to dissipate. It's like you know, the first time I tried a quadruple top, oh, that was scary. But then you know what? We get gradually, after many falls, because I didn't have any harness back then, you got better at it, right? So experience is going to assist them too with repetition and just, you know, giving them that constant positive feedback and letting them know that, you know, you're on the right track. It's all good. You're learning. This is how it goes, right? And that's very natural to feel what you're feeling when you're attempting a specific skill. So I know I ramble a lot. Maybe I'll ask the same question to you. Because it's a great question, and it's one that you know all of us coaches deal with on a day-to-day basis. So,
yeah, I think you know this is my analogy I always think of, and I say to the skaters: if your mom and dad are driving you to the rink, and you're going really fast down the highway because the rink is, let's say, in the next town, are you afraid? And they go, no, that's not scary. They're just driving me to skating. And then I say, what if mom looks at you and goes, I don't think my brakes are working? That's when you freak out. All right. So it's not the fear of doing the thing generally, it's the fear of not knowing how to handle something in the experience. So I often get skaters to understand that they can fall down and get up. They can understand if you feel not over your feet, you can bend your knees and be safely falling down in a position that works. Right. So it's helping them deal with, if this happens, what do I do? And once they know what they'll do in case they feel off balance or in case they have a slip or something like that, that's actually really, really helpful. So it's like, okay, don't pretend you're not afraid. Go, okay, I'm afraid this might happen. I might fall. Okay, what's the worst case that can happen? I might get a bruise on my butt. Okay, I might fall on my knee and my knee hurts from yesterday. Talking that piece through and helping them understand, hey, you know what? If this happens, can you deal with it? And it's funny, as soon as they go, yeah, I can deal with that. I may not like it, but I can deal with it. Boom. All of a sudden, it's like you can feel the fear and do it anyways, right? So you're not going to get rid of the fear, but it's like, how do I have that fear, but also know what I will do if that happens. So just give us a little note if that answered your question or if that's helpful for you, because yeah, those are two kind of different angles. Mine's a little more mental aspect and using a little bit more get out there, do it, physicality, harness, all that kind of stuff.
Well, and we learn by doing, right?
Mhm.
You know, you can't think your way into an Axel. It's like, oh, I'm sorry, but this whole secret thing, oh, it's just going to come to me. And that, no,
Yeah.
you got to actually pull the trigger and take that leap of faith and climb to that axis and see if it works out or not. And hey, you know what? Sometimes it does. Hey, look, I was experienced a long time with triple axel, quadruple double. Sometimes I went off my axis and hit, you know, back to. I mean, it happens, but
Yeah.
it's the, you know, if you have to be comfortable with understanding that that might happen, and then we just deal with it, right?
Yeah.
And we just move on. It's kind of like, you know, there's a lot of fear right now of, okay, are we on the ice tomorrow or next week? Well, I don't know that, but we're going to find out. So you may as well just go, okay, today we're here. So it's like, you know, you may as well just deal with that, right? And that's part of the, you know, the false evidence appearing real.
Yeah.
It really is. It really is.
The last thing I want to say about that too is that, and this is what Steffany Hanlen, our business partner and definitely fearless leader, has shared with me many times, is that confidence is borrowed, right? Confidence is something you share. So when the coach says to the skater, "You've got this. I know you can do this. This is gonna be great." When you tell them, "I think you're ready for the next step," that's helpful because they've never been here before, whereas you have. You've guided people through the process. You say, "Hey, I know that you're afraid right now, but in the next 5 attempts, you're going to get some more confidence. And trust me, I think you can do this." So there's a borrowed confidence piece in there that you're leading them as a coach, going, "I'm not going to take you somewhere I don't think you're ready for."
No, it's funny. I actually got a story, and thank you, Sarah, for saying that was helpful for me. Right, I really appreciate that. But because
We're not supposed to say her name.
well, anyway, my apologies. But thank you for that, because it's great that helped. Because I remember this one story. So I had this girl in the harness for double axel, right? And we're repping it. And you know, I'm going, as a harness guy, you get a little sixth sense. It's like you're not a whisperer, but you're kind of like, you just know it's going to crack. Like,
are you a jump whisperer?
Well, no, it's not just that per se, but there's a little bit of a sixth sense. You're like, climb, walk, ooh, this is getting pretty slick.
You feel it.
You know, you just feel it. And, you know, the kid was like, well, maybe in the next couple of weeks I'll be able to do it. I said, no, you're not. You're out today. So unclick,
Right now.
bang, she rolled the first one and just sat down.
Wow.
Just like that. So, you know, because it was borrowed confidence, I can feel it. I can just go, you know what? No, you're ready right now. Why wait 2 weeks? No, now, today. Boom. And then sure enough, it starts showing up. So
wow, that's so
the power.
exciting.
That's the power of, I like the borrowed confidence factor. I was confident enough. She maybe wasn't yet, but all of a sudden you just go, no. I feel that you're good. You're good to go. Unclip. Yeah. Boom. Roll the first one, sat down, stepped out of the second one, landed the third one.
Yeah.
Man,
you know, so we have a lot to say about this. I love it.
Anyway.
So exciting. I love this. All right, Nina, is there another question?
No, we don't have any questions, but I have a question. Why don't we talk about a little bit about under rotation? I know that has been an issue for some coaches. So what is your guys' perspective and take on skaters that are under rotating their jump, their axel?
Okay. Number one for that too is it's been an interesting year because all of a sudden the under rotation, just on the math scale, if you're in the new system, right? I call it a Q code. So, you know, you're on Q. So that means you're going to get full base value minus GOE. That's a huge difference this year.
It's a big change. Yeah.
We had our Alberta sectionals we did a few weeks ago. Actually, when Props probably did a live one, but it was amazing how, you know, that really does affect that little quarter now having the base value, still getting a bonus point to say pre-novice enough. But, you know, I would say from my own perspective, when I really do see that, and most of the time it is generally height, or, you know, if you have a skater first attempting the axle, are they really committing to it? Right. I mean, we all know that. Are they really committing? Are they kind of letting go at the end? And then, of course, it's amazing when, say, I review something on the video, how just that little break in the body slows that rotation rate down fast. Like it's really amazing. It's like, you know, you'd think that would rotate a little more. No, it doesn't. Right. If you're locked in full axis, you're in, you're turning. Yeah. But if there's a little break, it's like you're shocked. Like I'm shocked how fast that rotation slows down, and either the under rotation, which is just, you know, past the half point, or the downgrade or the Q code shows up. So generally, most of the time, I would say it's height. I would say that that's the part of it. Obviously, the higher you go, the more time you have to fit the rotation. I mean, that's pretty common sense stuff. But also, it is a little commitment. Like, it's funny. Maybe the skater has the height, but just at that end of where they're going to recheck and exit the jump, they're braking a little bit. So
like the
exactly,
braking
it's
of
a
the
brake of the body,
yeah.
and it'll slow it down just at the end. So it's. But again, you work with it, and that's the communication part that I try to do on the video, is just go, okay, fine. You see this right here? That's why that's showing up. Can you just do this? And then they get it, right? So,
well, and a lot of skaters don't understand when they're first learning an axle or a double axle, especially, that they actually need time at the end to recheck or unlock from that lock axis position. So they have to get into their axis efficiently, quickly, and organized, because they don't have time at the end. If they land the jump, right, and they're still completely squeezed in that axis, that's my legs in my axis position, there's no time to recheck, come out of the jump, right? If you look on it really slow in video, you want the legs to already be released, so the leg is reaching down to the ice, reaching for the ice, so they have time to then uncoil those legs, recheck, get into a landing. Once you try to explain to them the ending as much as you do the beginning, I've seen skaters, their light bulb just goes on. They're like, oh, that's why you want me to get in quick at the beginning. It's like, yes, you need time at the end to refocus yourself and get more balanced over top of that skating leg while you do your axis landing, right?
Well, and that's one of the things too, and good points, definitely, because oftentimes they'll review the jump, and I know that we have coaches on here that you probably agree with me on this, but we always go through that checklist. Approach look good, key positions look good, step look good, climb look good, right? Lock look good, landing. Did that really have to happen like that? Like, did they really have to collapse or let go or whatever? So, or it may be, okay, back edge look good, setup look good, step look good, directions around, we got a problem. So you have to address that first before we engage the conversation of, and unfortunately, when, a jump goes around, it will not hit its axis efficiently and will not rotate efficiently, and generally hit an under rotated or down. Generally speaking, that's what will happen. So as coaches, we're trying to obviously problem solve and give the tools that we can to, obviously eliminate the under rotations or Q codes and get full base value. Like I said, like I said in the course, the average single axle, and I'm just going to talk about what I've viewed. Again, this is my experience from doing it on the Dartfish for many years. The ones that say in the beginning have, a good solid gold assessment or a good solid GOE, they'll generally fly 0.350 of a second. Okay, because that's usually the height required. We see a good arc time to make that work. Single axle, double axle, generally speaking, it'll have an arc time of half a second, on good ones that are solid and have GOE and are clean and are not on that Q code.
Time to rotate in the
right.
air, yeah.
Generally speaking, that's what I see. This is very general. There are some exceptions, but usually that's the case. You watch a nice double axle, pull it up. Usually it's like, yeah, okay, that's where it's going to be, right? Yeah. So, looking at it from that angle too, and the accuracy of it as well. Yeah, I mean, it's such a thing that, sometimes that happens so quick on the landing. It's very important to review it. Like I said, like I was working with a skater yesterday. It's like, did that get to the Q code? No, and in fact, no, sorry. It's actually, I'm going to rotate down great because it's forward. It's so fast. It's like, and you really have to slow it down to go, that's the code that would show up on your sheet if it did get a review. Yeah. So hopefully that answers your question. Yeah, but
I have one more thing to say about this. So many skaters, okay, you're going to understand what I'm saying as a coach. You're going to totally get this. But so many skaters, when they go to jump, it's like they line it up and they do their takeoff and then they think their job is done. They're like, well, I lined it up. I did my takeoff. I'm in the air. Now it's up to the skating gods to put me down. No, never. You're still the athlete and you have to be active. So one of the rules of thumb that I try to get skaters to understand, and I talk about this a lot in our 2021 release choreography course too, is that this element is not done when you take off. It's not even done when you land. My rule of thumb is 2 steps after the landing, then you can stop being engaged in the jump. So takeoff, air position, landing, and next 2 steps of choreography so that you're completely invested and involved in the movement. I find skaters, when they start to get that philosophy going, they don't just sort of let go like you're talking about, or give up, or assume that someone else is going to help them land the jump, even though there's no one there to help them. But I think you guys know what I'm saying. Put anything in the chat if this resonates with you, because I've really tried to implement this with lots of skaters, and I've seen it work a lot of times.
Anyway, hopefully neither of that asked. That was a bit of a rant, but hey, you know what? That's
We
what
should
it's
call this the rant.
Q&A with Ben and Jay. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was really helpful. I think just to recap, for under rotation is like, make sure you have that key position, which I know you guys talk about so much in the courses, the key position and about height. So yeah, what about exercises? What are some great exercises to make sure that your skier is getting enough height?
Well, number one, it's and this is where it comes into probably edges and turns thing. Can a skater actually bend into their edge? I mean, you know, that's maybe obvious, of course, to say to coaches, but coach me, yeah, you know, if you can bend to the edge and lean on it, roll into it, accelerate it like that, you have a huge advantage of gaining height over someone that is not being able to do that. So that's where basic skating skills and all the rest of that come into play. Generally, the skater with better skating skills can generally sustain that edge, roll to their toe more, bend into the ice more, compress, roll. And so that's probably obvious one and obvious two, but that's a really important, I think, distinction is that, you know, it's not just an edge class. It's a can you bend into your left forward outside edge class and actually roll to that toe and generate lift.
I would say, buy the Edges and Turns Masterclass online course. It's like the foundation for all of those things, because if you're asking yourself to get height, right? It's like if you're standing on the ground and you can't bend your knees and you want to jump, and we've all tried that, it doesn't work at all. And so you're learning how to handle and harness the equipment, which is the skate. And if you don't learn how to handle that instrument underneath your foot, then you don't know how to feel what it is to do edge pressure and then create that lift off and that launch into the air. So
well, and you go back to a foundation. What's the foundation for an Axel? Well, it's a waltz jump. So how good is that? Well, that right, like, you know, how good is that single axel prep for the double? This is a foundation-based sport, and the amazing thing is you can't skip a step. It's not like, oh, okay, I'm just going to go to double axel. You can't do that. So I mean, that's where it's all built on a foundation, which is beautiful in its own sense because it's the ultimate sport for that.
Yes.
But you know, it does require that. Okay, like you say, exercises, Nina. You know, are you able to compress into that edge? Roll to the toe, generate acceleration on it, and generate thus lift into the air, which will give you the chance to get onto that axis, maintain that axis, sustain that axis, land over that axis, recheck, and get out of there.
Yeah.
Right? So.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, and speaking about edges and rolling to the toe, why don't we talk about some edges and turns?
Well, okay, and I just want to interject too. It was really funny because we started with Axel Masterclass because what we with Skating Success wanted to do was that's where all of us coaches, myself included, ran up against the wall of, okay, so we have the skater, now we have to learn the axle. Okay, what are the steps to do? What's the quality control required? What are the action steps required? What do I need to focus on? That was where, you know, a lot of coaches had that. It was at the time, but what was it when the Star Pilot came? It was 2013 Star 4, right? That was it. And it was, now you land an axle, you need that for that bonus point. That's the category where, you know, we were going to do that. Now it's really funny. We probably should have started with edge and turns anyway. I mean, that would have been made sense.
I see what you're saying.
But the thing is though, is that you know, edges and turns were, you know, development of, okay, after we gained some traction with Axel, and let's expand this whole thing. And well, actually, what the funny story was we were at the first Axel Masterclass class we did, and one of the coaches, was a great colleague of ours, said, "So when's the SoundCloud course coming out?" And it's like, oh, cool. So then, you know, Snap was developed, but when we talk about edges and turns, really at the end of the day, of course, you know, started there, but that's the foundation of every other masterclass that we have. So anyway,
so if we exactly. So
sorry, Nina, took a long breath.
If we dovetail into edges and turns, I know what the number one question is that coaches have, and it is, how do I teach all the edges and turns that I would have learned from figures or from skating skills in a condensed way that the skaters actually understand them? Because we're in a world right now where skaters often know information situationally, but not fully. So example, have you ever seen someone and you're like, I think I know that person, but you cannot place them. You're like, I don't know if I know them from school or the coffee shop. Is that the guy that sits in the corner of the coffee shop? Right? Like you're like not really sure where you know them from. That's situational knowledge. Like if you walk in the coffee shop and you see the guy sitting in the corner with his computer and his budgie, you're like, oh, that's the guy with the bird. It's weird. He's always there. You see the guy at Costco, you don't know, right? If you see your mother, you see your husband, you see your child, doesn't matter where you are, you know it's them, and you can almost feel them often before you see them. That's the kind of sixth sense we want to develop with skaters with edges and turns. And I am going to tell you straight up, it was a problem for me as a choreographer when I started. When skaters would come, they would want a brand new solo. Awesome, we've got 2 hours booked, let's do it. And I'm like, great, let's start with the left forward outside rocker, and they turn the wrong direction. And I'm like, uh-oh, how are we gonna use this 2 hours and give you choreography to do? And they would say, I don't know which way to turn. I don't know which foot I'm supposed to be on. I'm not sure which edge. So, of course, what do they say? Necessity is the mother of invention. Isn't that kind of the term? I would run into this so often that I had to think, all right, how am I going to teach turns efficiently? And in our course, I go through everything. It's called the family of turns. And it's like a 1-page, 1-place system where you can teach people exactly the outcome of understanding all their turns in one. I'm obsessed with it. You can tell I get very animated, but this is a coach resource that I just want to give everybody.
Well, and part of that too with edges and turns was the better quality simplistic drills you have. Again, we talked about this earlier. It's all a foundation, right? And it's all in how that's built from the ground up. So, you know, really this was such a big conversation to engage in. But what we wanted to do was to at least start it with that concept of, okay, if you're starting here, this is where it goes, right? And this is, you know, like you say, it would be like the skater coming to you for level 3 step. Well, okay, well, show me left forward outside counter. Yeah, okay. Like, it'd be like, you know what I mean? Like that's where, you know, that conversation is. A lot of the times with the egg class, I'm just gonna be honest, you know, with even top skater, I do a lot of simplistic things, but I want them done very well, right? With good lean on the edge and good flow and proper stride and proper pushing it, you know, because that in itself will obviously create more sophistication.
Yeah.
So anyway, just to throw that out there with the edges and turns concept.
I love what you're saying about edge class. Like when you're describing this to a skater, the more ability they have to do different edges, different turns, and do them well, it's like instead of drawing a picture in black and white, now you can paint with all the colors of the rainbow. Now you can open that Crayola box that has like every shade of pink and blue and cerulean and lime green. And it's like whatever you want to create, it's available to you. But if you don't learn how to do that in skating, it's very limiting. Right now we're just doing shades of gray, which, you know what, shades of gray is cool sometimes, but you want options, right? We all want artistic options, and it's more fun the more you can do. So now, Mina, I know we're on a rant already.
By the way, great questions from panelists and Nina and all of that. We're having fun with this one.
Yeah, Sarah says, I'm not, or yeah, starting with the juniors, just, you know, getting them to know their right and their left. Because if you're talking about turn, and I think that's a really good point, is like in the beginning, learning the fundamentals, whether it's your right or your left or your inside or your outside or your forward or your backward, is going to set you up for a really strong foundation of your turns to come.
Yeah, and that's in the course. I promise you, we literally started from ground zero, and like literally, and you know, because we know it's frustrating, right? How do you get someone from the place of they really don't know their right and left or forward, backward, or they don't feel their edge? How do you build that? So that is in the course.
It's just really funny that you mentioned that, because I've had these 2 new star ones, right?
Oh my gosh, 7 years old. Yes.
I'm just saying this story. So I say, okay, because what I'm trying to communicate is also direction, but also foot, right? You're trying to, so, okay, let's see a left forward outside spiral. What direction does that go? You should see their mind work, man. They're like, that's counterclockwise. Yes, like it's brilliant, right? It's just like, it's good, right? Like they take it. Boy, do they think they're going like, because they don't want to get the wrong answer. You know what I mean? It's fun. It's good. Just one example.
One thing too, just before we move on from right and left, because this is a real thing. Okay, so number one on this, people's learning styles will affect their processing. Okay, I'm gonna say this again. People's learning styles will affect their processing. I am an auditory learner. If you say right and left to me, that is very helpful. For someone who's not auditory, it doesn't matter how much you say it. You have to show them, right? It might even be putting a sticker right on their left foot, right on their skate, like a little heart sticker. Yep. And then you just say, use the heart foot. And that's left heart, right square, whatever it is. You know, you may need somebody like whichever glove they're wearing. You may need to say to them, you know, imagine there's something on your shoulder. Like I've had skaters before, they're so kinesthetic. It's like you got a unicorn on your shoulder, turn towards your unicorn. They have to learn in different ways, right? And here's the other one little baby thing. I believe this, even though I don't have scientific proof. I've taught 2 skaters like this. Some people, rarely, but some people never know the right and left. I'm serious. I've had 2 skaters in my career. It didn't, and one of them did great. She went all the way to junior ladies. Okay, it's not like she didn't do a double axel or triple toe, so she figured it out. But if I would say to her left foot, she'd always be and it was just part of her functioning. And her father's the same. She told me her dad, you know, driving her to skating left or right was just not happening. Even though again, very very successful person. So don't make it wrong. Work with it, work with them, work with their learning style, and be creative because you may end up with someone who needs to talk to their imaginary unicorn to go left. It just happens, okay?
That's really helpful, is learning as much as your students are there to learn from you, you're also there to learn about what learning style your skaters have. And that kind of leads us to our next question here. We have a question. What are some tips to try to figure out what type of learning style your skater is? I mean, it's not really like, it's more like edges and turns related. It's not like, but yeah, let's hear about that.
I love this so much. You guys, this is like the golden question, because it doesn't matter what I know at all. It matters what I can get you to know after our lesson. That's what matters. So do you want me to start with this, or do you want to? Okay, so I'm going to start with the simplest thing. Look for clues. Okay, so if you have an iPad set up, right, and you have a video playing on the iPad, there are some skaters that will literally start skating like this. Like they won't even be able to stop themselves from looking. They are going to be super visual. They'll be glued to that thing. Okay, this is a visual learner. Okay, if you have somebody who's always watching and paying attention, likely a visual learner. For myself, I'm so auditory, and you'll notice this sometimes too, that if you're the coach and he's coaching me, while he's coaching, I will likely not even look at him in the eye because I want my ear to be closer to him. It's crazy. Like if I'm learning something, I won't even look. I want to hear it. So I'll be in my own world here and here. Sometimes we feel like, oh, skaters should look at me all the time, right? But if they're turning to hear you, they may be more auditory. They're often very still when they're learning because they don't want any distracting sounds. Okay. Another thing, kinesthetic learners. Some people are so kinesthetic. You guys know these ones, they can't keep their feet still. Boom, 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 boom. They're all over the place. They're turning, they're twizzling. And I mean, it's hard in a group class. That can be very annoying. But sometimes people are so kinesthetic that the way they learn and listen and process is by moving while they're hearing or seeing or doing. And so my first thing on that is just look for clues. Try to clue in. How are they acting instead of how they should be, right? I'm sure you have more.
And I think it's like you say, look for clues, but also the reason I wanted to employ Dartfish and everything that I did was I realized that I was very visual. Okay, for a lot of, I used to review video VHS tapes of jumps, and I used to go and try and walk them through. I used to do that. Now there was a kinesthetic part to that, of course, but what it also was, you know, really seeing it first, understanding the concept. And the amazing thing was later in my skating career, I was about 22, 23, we used video every day. Now it was VHS playback. It wasn't Dartfish instant in the action like I can employ today. But the amount of awareness and knowledge that I was able to take away every day just made my reliability go up. So I'm a big believer in the visual, huge believer in the visual. I try to encompass it a lot. And there'll be times where I use it and times where I don't. There'll be times where you know, some skaters will be very hard on themselves when they see themselves and some they don't. So, you know, I have to learn that too. And certain points, at the stage of development or skill acquisition, you know, if it's the week before competition, you know, they're going to be pretty hard on themselves. They don't see what they want, right? So I mean, I'm not going to employ it, but
so less video if they're,
you know, I've learned that over the years is when, you know, I will video, and then just, okay, I'll just back off it because this is different right now, right? This is a different time. I've kind of learned that balance of it. I would say that 70% are actually visual. I would say that. I think it's very higher. I would say it's very, very high. I'd say auditory is great, like getting to understand a concept. Kinesthetics, everything. Unfortunately, like right now, with the situation we are with the 6 feet or 2 meters, is kinesthetic is challenging to do because I can't put anybody in a position right now.
Yeah.
That's off the table. So it's like, okay, so how do you kinesthetically get them aware? Well, okay, so walk through that. This is where the toe goes, you know, and coaches, we're all adjusting to this. I mean, this is all new. It used to be, okay, take the arm, put it here, you know, do all that. But so that kind of learning style right now, we've had to adapt and pivot a little bit, right? So maybe I'll go heavier on the visual on it.
Yeah.
Just because I don't have that ability to currently do it the way I would have done it previously. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is really key because you're talking about coach adjustment, which is huge. What I also love to do with skaters is once we kind of find their way of learning, and I kind of call it the learning superhighway, like instead of walking down the street, we're in the jet plane and we're going because we found the way they learn. I always try to empower them to ask for what they need. So if somebody is super visual, they need to learn to ask the coach, can you show me that again? Can you please show me? Can I watch you do it, right? Or can I watch a video? Empowering your kinesthetic learner. Can I follow you? Can I just follow you, right? Can I follow that other skater? Can I learn that way? They have to learn to ask for what they need. My auditory people, it's like, learn to say to the teacher at school or the coach, can you say that again? Can you please repeat yourself? Because that is really what we're trying to get, is the skater to be empowered around how they learn and then access that, right? And get that under control. And you will be amazed, the confidence that they get from knowing their learning style, being able to ask for what they need and then getting it is pretty darn cool. So I could go on about learning styles, you guys, honestly, in an entire book, because I've done so many programs now. And the problem with a piece of choreography is it doesn't matter. The client paying doesn't care how I get it into their head. They only have 3 hours and that's it. So I'm always like, okay, I got to figure out how they learn really fast. So this area is something I'm willing to go deeper on. If someone has a question, you can email us, of course, anytime. All right. Okay. Yes, we have only a few minutes left.
Yeah, an hour flies by.
I know. We got so
Thanks
excited.
for all joining us.
The spins, I mean, there's probably a lot of spin questions out there. And maybe it's hard to do all 3 concepts in one. We just kind of wanted to put this out there as a follow-up. But if there are any spin questions, we can answer them now, or we can always tell you about the sale because we are on a really good pricing right now. We did an Icy Friday sale, and it's on until December 1st, which is next Tuesday. And it's a way to bundle up and save on the courses if you want to get 2 of them or 3, all 3. The pricing right now is super awesome. So Nina, is there anything else around questions?
No questions here for spins.
Well, that's all good. And the reason I want to bundle up is just because, guys, it's December. Like, this is bundle up. Like, we're in Edmonton. Now, actually, today's warm, but we know where this is going in Edmonton, right? It's getting cold. So bundle up with a few courses, right? And what better time right now? Like, I mean, honestly, I've been investing all in my education too. I mean, what better time to sit, after this part, sit down, invest in education, some online learning, get re-inspired, and refresh the brain, put some new content in there. I just feel it's the kind of time to do that right now for me too.
Yeah. So, and it's, we really, really thought through these courses. They're super applicable. It's not just theory. We give you the why and then we get into the how. And these are things that you can come back to. They're designed to be, like I said, that membership portal where you come back to it again and again, whatever you need. But at the same time, it's also very step-by-step. It's very clear how to go from one thing to the next thing to the next thing. And we're actually in the process of developing the next courses for 2021. And we're really excited about those as well. So don't worry. If you see a subject, you're like, where's the lots? Don't worry, it's coming. These are things are coming, okay? We're working on them. So so Nina is, of course, ahead of me. I love it. You already have this in the chat, the link to the sale. So that'll take you to the sales page. And from there, you can easily just buy any of the course bundles that you want to bundle up and grab the courses, or if you want to do them individually, still available, but more expensive, up to you. If you want to pay more, that's totally fine. All right. Okay. Do we teach ice dance? Okay. So do you want to talk about ice dance from your perspective?
I don't even have a Dutch waltz, so the answer's no.
This guy didn't do any dance.
No.
He was right into the free skate stream, which is awesome.
You have a gold dances. You're good.
I do have my gold dances. I loved ice dance. I loved it.
She's
I
a great
have.
dancer, actually.
Thank you. Yeah.
I would say that, but yeah.
And a lot of people ask me if I was an ice dancer, which is always a beautiful question because it's, it says a lot about maybe edges in performance. I don't currently teach ice dance. I do help ice dance with like refinement and style and development, but I knew that if I went into ice dance, I would be so obsessed. I would want to stay there. And that's actually why I don't do it, is I would want to like go full on, like I would be like in it 100%. So I haven't, but our colleagues at the IM Ice Academy in Montreal, some of our best friends and colleagues in coaching, they are running the world of ice dance. So we know that we can send anyone there if they need their questions answered. So yeah, that's my answer for that for now. You never know, maybe we'll collaborate and make a whole show with ice dance and free skate. That'd be amazing. So yeah, any other questions? There's time. 2 more minutes if you have any questions about anything, or if Nina, if you have another question that you think is obvious.
I'll drink my water to that.
Yeah, I think I did put the link in the chat box if anyone is interested in the Bundle Up and Save Icy Friday sale. Like you said, it's on until December 1st.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So yeah, if you're thinking that you want to take this opportunity to do some studies while here on Christmas holidays, or just to like refine and get a new perspective on teaching. I think it's always great to have multiple strategies and different tactics to approach your coaching. I think that's always beneficial.
Yeah, 100%. And as you can see, we're very open book. So if you bought the course and you were in something, you had an extra question, I mean, in the Coaches Circle on Facebook, you could always ask us or send us a DM on Instagram. Like, we're here. We're not just sending you to our product and then letting you go. The whole point is to integrate, to be a Coaches Circle, to support each other, and for us to share what we know so that you don't feel freaking alone. I mean, how many times have you been coaching? You're like, I don't know who to ask. There's nobody to ask about this question, or no one wants to share it with me. That happens too. And so we just decided, while we're here, while we're coaching, we're going to share everything we do with you guys. So yeah.
Absolutely. Everything she said and more.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for your attention and your time. And whenever you watch us, we're going to wait until this recording is finished, and then we'll upload it to YouTube and we'll share it in the circle. If you need to review, or, you want to hear our jokes again or anything like that. No, we're just so grateful for this community. So thank you for your time, your attention, your focus, and, for you being on our team. We've done so much. These courses are largely due to Nina joining our team, that they've actually finally manifested and are available to you guys.
Well, and that's the thing, and I was thinking about it too, with our company and the skating success, your skating success journey never ends. It's always a transition. It's a process. It's a redefining. It's a refining. And it's a process that just continues all the way through your skating, your coaching, your, beyond. So to everyone's skating success, thank you for joining us today. And here's to all of your future skating success. So I want to just throw that out there. It's a constant process, and it never ends.
It is.
Absolutely. Right. Thank you, Ben and Jadene, for your time and your perspective, and all of your wisdom and knowledge is great. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, Nina.
Thanks, everybody.
All right. Bye, everybody. Take care.